What's up? Welcome to the first episode of Double Crown. My name's Richard.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to talk to you about video games and pretty much anything else we want. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about our first impressions of Fallout 4. Both of us are about, 4 hours into the game.
3 or 4.
Yeah, so we're gonna go over a few things, things we like, things we don't like, things that have frustrated us, and what we hope for, I guess. We've got Matt over here.
That's me.
Yeah, he's a bit of a Fallout veteran, I guess you might say. He played a lot of Fallout 3. I think he liked it a lot. I could be wrong.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was all right.
No, it was great. I loved it.
I fucking hated that game. So, what do you think of 4 so far?
I think it is amazing.
Yeah?
Yes, I am a big fan so far. I like the changes that have happened since Fallout 3 and New Vegas. Most of them for better.
Yeah.
Most of them are good changes that I agree with.
Sure.
If not all of them. Of course, I haven't seen most of the game.
Yeah. But, we are where we are. Well, I have to agree.
I mean, you're still playing it.
Sure. Yeah, no, exactly. So basically, yeah, I mean, my Fallout history, I played Fallout 3 about 5 or 6 times. I got about... do you know what part I'm talking about in the game?
Yeah.
You get to a government building and there's super mutants with lasers. How far in the game is that? Like,
Galaxy News Radio.
yeah,
that
that's
building.
That's the building. So
Yeah.
4 hours in?
Yeah.
About the same? Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah, fuck that. Could never... Like, I'd get to that point and then I'd just kill everyone I knew and then never play the game again. So with this game, I haven't felt the need to kill anyone that I know, any of the people that I've met. So we're doing good so far. I think a big part of that is that you can actually shoot in this game. So Bethesda decided with their purchase of id Software to bring some of those guys on over to Fallout and teach them how shooting works in a game, and so that you don't have to rely on the VET system, which I think is that's probably key to making this game as big of a success as it's going to be.
Oh yeah, Iron Sights is completely viable now.
Yeah.
I know you've said this before, where VATS is a crutch,
Yeah.
and to a degree, well, in Fallout 3, it definitely was a crutch.
Yeah.
The first time I played through that game, there wasn't an enemy encounter that I didn't use VATS. New Vegas was a little more lenient. They got a little bit better on the Iron
That was a
Sights.
Bethesda game.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
That was Obsidian, so they were on that.
But yeah, the shooting feels fluid. It feels powerful.
Sure.
The guns sound good. They look good.
Yeah,
And
I think a lot of the gun design, the way that the guns look in this game, has been a lot better than 3. They look, I guess, less like ready to fall apart. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. I don't know. Like, everything just felt like it was held together with duct tape in Fallout 3 for me.
Yeah, I mean, the first gun you get, a 10mm pistol, kind of an iconic Fallout gun. It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks futuristic, but also familiar.
Sure.
The first time you shoot it, I was like, wow, okay, this is great. I am A-okay with all of the changes they've made to the combat system, at least. Even VATS has been revamped a little bit to where instead of freezing time completely, it goes into a slow motion sort of thing. So you still have to be a little tactical in your encounters. It's just you gotta watch out because you can still get hurt.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely it's cool. I really like it. I've found from the few encounters that I've had in the game so far, like I said, about 4 hours in, I don't think I've used VATS as much as I have used just regular iron sight shooting from the hip.
I actually forgot about VATS.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't use it until I don't know, like 2.5 hours into the game.
Yeah,
I was like, what button activates this?
Yeah, I remember there was a specific situation where I used it in a hallway. I had talked to you about this earlier, where a guy was running at me, and because the VATS system doesn't stop time now, he was gonna hit me. He was running at me with a melee weapon. So instead, I just ran backward, iron sights up, and shot right down the middle of the hallway and blew his head off. It felt really good. That never would have happened in Fallout 3 without a chance in the world. So
No, you would have missed from 3 feet away.
yeah. So yeah, I'm really impressed. I when I heard that they were bringing the id guys on to help them with the shooting, I was really excited. And they've certainly shown that they do have an understanding of how games should shoot, and that's awesome.
Definitely agree. The other thing that I really noticed pretty much immediately as soon as I got out of the vault was the movement. Movement is fluid. It feels natural.
Sure.
Where like in 3 in New Vegas, you kind of just glided over the atmosphere. Never really made contact with the ground. But in this game, it feels like you have weight in the world.
Yeah.
And not so much, well, leaning towards realism, but I always feel weird saying that about games like this, where it's just kind of like,
definitely. I when I was thinking about this earlier, I was like, I want to call it grounded, but I don't at the same time. Like, it has a specific thing about it that makes me like this a lot more than I did with 3. There were so many problems that I had with 3 that it didn't feel right to me, and I can't quite explain what this game does that feels right. You know, grounded is the word that I want to use, but it's not, you know, it's not right. It's not what I'm looking for. But I think we're kind of talking about the same thing here. Is that it has a different feel to it. It feels like a higher quality game, just overall. I think that's a big part of it, is them, you know, improving as developers and with the new hardware. You know, working on this game for 4 years now.
Yeah,
you know.
And you can really notice it when you're going into third person. It's kind of like the animations are vastly improved from prior releases.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's weight about your character. It feels like you have momentum behind your movements.
Sure.
Part of that may have something to do with the ability to sprint now.
Yeah. I honestly, I just did it when I got into the game. I didn't even think about it not being in the other Fallout games, because I had played them so little, because I couldn't fucking stand them. Yeah, it felt right. It feels, honestly, it feels a little fast sometimes, but it uses up AP. So in that you can't sprint the whole time.
Yeah.
So I think it's a nice little trade-off. But there are times where I go to sprint and I'm like, oh god, it's really, really quick. But, you know, I'd rather, you know, in a situation where I want it to be quick, that'll be helpful.
Definitely. Going back to the third person thing,
Sure.
I feel like it's a viable playthrough strategy. It feels solid. Like let me take a step back. First person, like the iron sights are so fantastic, and it feels powerful and fluid and all that. But third person also feels like a pretty decent third person shooter. Like aiming down sights in third person feels or reacts how it should. And
yeah, I mean, it's got like the typical over the shoulder look, you know, that camera over the shoulder, that we've all, you know, come to expect from any kind of third person shooting game, you know.
True. I think it's a good design decision to allow that to be in there.
Yeah.
Give it a little more freedom for the different people that want to play that way. Like, I don't really play these games as melee builds, but I feel like third person would be really fun doing that.
Sure. Yeah, a big part of the reason why I couldn't play a lot of the or you know, the Elder Scrolls games, and you know, even Fallout 3, I didn't want to get into it. You know, when I first read about it and, you know, played it or had a chance to play it, I was like, nah, I don't want to. I don't like those games. Is because I didn't like the first person melee, and the third person was always awful. It was god awful. It's a lot better in this one. I mean, it's still like just barely, you know, it's acceptable, like for what I expect from Bethesda. I probably wouldn't recommend anyone play the whole game in third person. We're not there yet. I don't know if we'll ever get there. Quite honestly, always going to be an afterthought for them. But it's nice to see that they're at least trying. You know, they're at least putting enough effort into it that, you know, granted everything else improves, and that everything else probably should improve more than the third person view and the you know, playing through that way. It's nice to see that they're still thinking about it. You know, at least a little bit.
Yeah. Do you think the game would be better if that option would not be in there at all?
No, I don't think it'd be any better. I mean, you got to think they're going to animate that anyways, you know, because they're still going to create a character model regardless. So whether
Oh, yeah.
you know if the model's already done, all they do, you know, they have the skeleton and everything built. They're just gonna make the animations, which takes times of course, you know, and there's gonna be a lot of testing and things like that for it. But I don't think it's gonna be, you know, that monumental of a shift if you don't animate a third-person camera view for everything, because, you know, more than likely you're doing most of that anyways.
Yeah, that in the new dialogue system.
That's also there's so many new things in this. It's really awesome.
Yeah, you kind of. I like the cinematic view during the dialogue system. It kind of adds a little more emotional depth to the character that you're playing as. It makes it feel like in 3 the story was just like, go find your dad.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't care. I'm just gonna
dad.
go west until I can't anymore.
Yeah.
But
what
in
you
this,
do?
well, yeah, in Fallout 3, as soon as I left the vault, I was like, that looks cool. I'm gonna go find out what that is. And then I ran into a super mutant with a rocket launcher and got owned.
There you go.
But in this game, I feel like I want to go where they're requesting
Yeah.
I go.
Yeah, I think that's a big part. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Like, the emotional draw is there.
Sure.
Even if I feel like the story is a little cliched, I feel like I've done it before.
Yeah.
I still want to find out what happens exactly because it's piqued my curiosity enough that I'm now invested in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the kind of what you were saying. I never really cared about the story in Fallout 3, or I don't even know what the story was in New Vegas. I only got like 30 minutes into that game. The story in this, I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's pretty close and in the same idea. It's in, you know, as Fallout 3, but the places they're taking me are interesting. The people that I'm meeting are interesting. You know, I felt like in Fallout 3, you go to Megaton, that's the first place you go, and there's like 1 or 2 interesting people there. Everyone else is just like just
Hey, how you doing?
yeah, and I'm just like, all right, get the fuck out of here. And the city's kind of just shitty. You know what I mean? So like the in Boston where it's set, I feel like they had a good idea and executed well on like having more buildings up. Which I know some people were like, well, why would there be buildings if it was like after nuclear fallout and there was a bomb that went off and, you know, all this shit. And I'm like, true, but I don't want to walk around on like just like flat like wasteland. That was Fallout 3.
Go play in the dirt.
Exactly. So that I feel like that does a lot for, especially for people like me that like they just, you know, kind of how I was talking about earlier. This game feels more grounded. There's just something about it that makes me want to play it. I think that's a big part of it, is the environments and everything that they're taking me to. They feel like people had been there before, you know, and if there are people there now, they all, so far at least, they all have something about them. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
Even like, yeah, I don't like the people that show up in your settlement. I don't know. You know, I don't.
The world feels lived in.
Yeah, it feels like I said, people have been there before, which is nice. As another human, that's something it's easy to relate to. It's not very easy to relate to a bunch of dirt and rad roaches fucking walking around outside, unfortunately.
I don't know. There have been some days where I'm like, man, I just kind of want to walk around in some dirt.
I just want to roll in the dirt and eat garbage and survive a nuclear.
In that order. We've talked a lot about things that we like about the game. Is there anything that you don't like about this game so far?
I mean, we were pretty much at the same exact spot in the game so far, and we both ran into some pretty big frustrations with the settlements and building whatever the fucking like house.
Fallout Sims.
Yeah, basically, there's a point in the game where you meet some folks and they move in with you essentially, and you got some weird ass fucking roommates, and you got to build the house for them because they're too worthless to do it themselves. And the Bethesda doesn't do the greatest job of kind of helping explain how you're supposed to do it. They're just like, hey, you need water, and then you figure it out. And then so you're like, cool, get a water pump, but it's not good enough, so you've got to figure out why it's not good enough and what, you know, little things like that. And then they throw all of it at you at the same time. So that was, you know, kind of pissing me off. At this point, it's a little easier. You know, and once I got through the like little quest that they have you do to make sure you get all the basics ready so that you understand what you need for people to survive at a settlement.
Oh, definitely.
That part made sense, but it was explaining like, hey, if you need to connect a wire from your generator to this thing, make sure it's close enough and shit like that. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't need a game to hold my hand, but at the same time, like, we spent like an hour doing that shit.
If not more than an hour.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how to connect wires to different things.
Sure. Grow fucking melons. Yeah. We had to play gardener for just hanging out for 45 minutes. Yeah.
Which I do think it's kind of cool that you can break down pretty much anything in your settlement.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I did was actually the first one you get to is at the gas station. And the first thing I did was I just went around and cleaned everything up. I was like, this is so untidy. I'm just going to make it livable, make it a home, get rid of everything, and then maybe I'll build a cabinet.
Yeah. I by the way, I built a steam chest or whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
those are
sweet.
Yeah, so now I have somewhere to store all my shit. Yeah, that honestly, that's the only thing that's bugged me. Speaking of bugs, I've only ran into like one so far. One major one. I was aiming down my iron sights at some point and teleported back through a couple walls. You were in the middle of something, so when I screamed "Holy shit!" you didn't really notice, but yeah, that was interesting. My dog got the shit kicked out of him because I teleported back in time basically, and he got shot at. But nothing too crazy. I did run into some problems with subtitles. I don't know if you have subtitles turned on. I've had a few times where the speech and the subtitles will bug out.
Oh yeah.
And the subtitles will just stick on the screen until the conversation's over. They won't change.
That would annoy the hell out of me.
Yeah, well, the first time it caught me off guard. But I know someone else who also had that same problem. So I kind of was, wasn't super surprising. It just, I didn't expect it to happen so soon, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for a Bethesda game, there have been a surprisingly few amount of bugs that I've encountered.
Sure, actually, you're about to see with the teleportation.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I do think that some of the menus could be a little less cluttery. I think the Pip-Boy feels there are parts of it that are just there's too much information on the screen, where I was very used to 3's and New Vegas's Pip-Boy layout, which is similar. The button commands are a little different, things are structured a little different. Maybe I'll get used to it, maybe it'll be more easy to navigate in a couple hours or less time than that, but for right now, I feel like I'm getting lost. I didn't even think to turn the radio on for a very long time until you brought it up. I was like, oh, that's what I've been missing.
Yeah, I straight up, I only saw it because I saw someone on NeoGaf ask about it.
Oh,
they were like, hey, can you still turn the radio on? They were like, yeah, and then I went through and found it. And classical music, by the way, huge recommendation. If you're going to play this game, turn the classical music on. You lose the ambient sounds, so don't leave it on all the time, I guess, but it's awesome. I can't recommend that enough. It makes the game, it's really interesting. It changes kind of the aesthetic of everything quite a bit, but it's really fun. Did you have anything else?
I think that covers most of it. As far as the story goes, I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah.
My interest is piqued. I want to know where I'm going and what the end result is going to be. And I'm sure that the journey there is going to be a lot of meandering through the wasteland and just figuring things out as I go. I'm excited to see how the town building plays into it in the late game.
Honestly, I think it's a fun side thing to do. It's something to spend your time on when you're like, I don't want to play the story right now, but I want to play some Fallout. I want to grind some levels. It's something fun that you can do.
Sure.
Which is always important to have in a game that you're going to spend a lot of time in. Looking at MMORPGs. One thing we didn't fucking talk about crafting yet. Didn't talk about crafting. Those things, I mean, those are huge. Those are huge time sinks.
Even I completely forgot about like the ability to customize your guns. That's a big part, and I know in games like Dead Space 3 I've spent hours just messing around with the tool bench, just figuring out things that I think are neat, and it's probably going to be the exact same thing in this, if not more.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see. I know like there's no like weapon degradation in this, so you don't have to like worry about monitoring that. So you can make a gun that you like and not worry about losing it. You can really work on finding something that you enjoy using, and use it, you know, until you find something better, or you make something better, or improve it farther. I haven't really gotten to a point, you know, neither of us have really gotten to a point to see, you know, can you only upgrade a weapon so far before it becomes, you know, kind of obsolete compared to something else? I don't know. But we're gonna see.
Yeah.
And you know, it'd be cool. I mean, I honestly, I doubt you're gonna want to use like the same pistol you get at the beginning of the game, for the whole game. But
you never know. It could be the most powerful thing.
It could. You know, it could be the Onion Knight of. Are you familiar with Onion Knights from Final
I know
Fantasy?
from Dark Souls.
Yeah, Onion Knights are in Final Fantasy. It's a class that is super weak, all the way up until you max out their levels, and then they're the strongest class in the game. So you have to kind of sit with it. And then there's a breaking point where like their stats just skyrocket, like after level 50 or something, like 50 through 99. It just like it's like every stat's like +5 per level, and it becomes insane.
That sounds crazy.
That'd be really funny if they did something like that, but I don't think anyone will.
So hold on to your starting gear. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah. Don't get rid of your vault uniform, because it's super cute, especially if you're a super hot girl.
Yeah.
If you're a guy, it could be cute too, I guess. But
that butt though.
Yeah. So, moral of the story: play Fallout 4.
Easily the most accessible Fallout at this point.
I mean, yeah, I'm playing it.
Yeah.
And
as someone who hates Fallout.
Yeah, someone who kind of hates open world games in general. This one, it's gonna keep your interest, I think. I guess, you know, we're only 4 or 5 hours in, but and I'll come back to talk about this a little bit more. And do I fall off? I don't know. We'll see.
Oh man. Oh, that was great wordplay right there.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, I'll give it my endorsement. You know, go ahead, go buy this thing. Support them and jump in.
I also recommend it.
Do you? I don't think
super fun. If you're coming from first-person shooter aspect, you might think it's a tad bit clunky.
Yeah.
Compared to a game like Destiny that has arguably the best shooting mechanics so far. But the game still feels solid.
Yeah.
And the story is compelling. The characters are compelling. The world feels lived in. If you're looking for an experience that you're going to get your money's value from,
yeah,
I totally recommend this game.
Sure.
Buy it for sure.
As always, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the little thumbs up down there to let us know you enjoyed it. If you didn't, leave us a comment. Let us know what you didn't like. Send us a tweet. You can find me at Nablith. Matt is at _Matthew Creek.
Feel free to be a dick on the comments if you want. It's the internet. We don't care.
Bye.